Welcome to Beyond the Stand with Metal Neck Outdoors. My name is Neal Blackburn.
Hey, and I'm Chris Blackburn.
And together, we dive into the heart of the outdoors, sharing thrilling hunting and fishing tales, reviewing the latest in gear innovations, and embracing the spirit of adventure. Join us as we journey from the depths of the forest to the vast expanse of the waterways. If you like the podcast, please feel free to subscribe. And also, guys, this podcast can be found on YouTube and most major podcast providers by searching for Metal Neck Outdoors or Beyond the Stand. With that being said, please join us and let's get to it. Hey guys, welcome back to Beyond the Stand.
Episode 2.
Episode 2. Today, we got a very special guest.
Oh,
A good buddy of mine and Chris's, Elston Lathum. We've known Elston a very, very long time. We actually worked together for a while.
bless our hearts.
One thing I can say about this guy right here, he's probably put the boots and leather to the ground more than anybody that I ever met as far as preseason scouting, postseason scouting, scouting in general. First thing I want to ask you, did you turkey hunt today since today is opening day of turkey season?
Nope. I had a little hiccup last week with my health, so I'm on the sideline.
I hear you. I didn't go either. I was working, but somebody did go.
Yes, I did. Had a good morning, too.
Well, before we get too into Mr. Elston here, go ahead and just fill us in on the...
You want me to tell a story?
Inquiring minds want to know.
Man. Well, if everybody else who got to hunt today realized it was windy. Super windy. And it was one of those things when I woke up this morning, if I wouldn't have drove all the way up there, I wouldn't have went because it was so bad windy.
That's what I was thinking this morning. I was at work. I'm like, I'm glad I didn't go.
God, it was bad. Sat there all night in that little shed that I'm sleeping in, just listening to the wind. I'm like, man, this sucks.
By the way, you're on the lease.
Yeah, I'm hunting on the lease.
Yeah. That's,
private land.
This is the last year we're on the lease. So
yeah. One thing I knew to do.
New to do?
Yeah.
Do to new?
One thing that I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but one thing that I knew what I needed to do.
Whoa,
there we go. Was go to where I knew some birds had been before. So went over and set up on a green field where you actually killed your bird at, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
3 years ago. Set up over there. There's a good bit of turkey poop in the field, and we've got a few cameras that's been running down there and seen a few gobblers been hanging out in the fields. So I just sat there. I said, well, if they ain't going to talk to me, I'm going to deer hunt them. So sitting there, a buddy of mine and his wife, which is a buddy of ours, his wife ended up killing one on the same lease. He texted me and said, hey, she just killed one. And I'm saying, well, that's good. I ain't seeing crap. And the exact moment I said that, I look up and there comes a hen. She walks right in front of me, comes from the opposite way that I thought she was going to come, and then she feeds in front of me for 20 minutes. And then all of a sudden, I thought I heard her spit. And I'm saying,
did you hear her spit?
No, I thought I heard her spit. So I was sitting there, and I'm like, I know I heard that. And then I heard it again. And about that time, he sounded off, and he was about 20 yards behind the blind that I went up there and sat in on that green field. Just 3 or 4 times gobbled behind me, so I'm sitting there holding that gun up, my arm's hurting. I'm going to just start praying to God, please come on out, man. That's all I need. Just give me a chance. That's all I asked for. He comes out on the edge of the field right here, and I couldn't see 10 foot right here, and back and forth. You could hear him, them wings hitting the ground. Back and forth, spitting and drumming. I can't see him. And I'm going, God, just please just walk out. He'd go 2 foot. He'd go right back in the line. Back and forth, back and forth. And he went 2 more foot, and when he did that, he was in my line of sight. And the bad thing is, I watched the footage before I came here. He was that close to being in camera angle. When I shoot, all you see is feathers. As soon as he came out, all pretty blown up, and then he turned towards me. When he went into half strut, I bam, flipped him over. He hit the ground, never moved one time. And somehow I came up the front of the blind instead of the back of the blind and ran over to him. Like, yeah!
But what you told me earlier is you didn't call at all.
I didn't call at all. I went against everything I've ever known as far as turkey hunting. I'm always like, gotta talk to them. But in my head this morning, I'm going, these turkeys have a pattern that they're used to. And they don't need Judy getting over there. Where'd she come from? All of a sudden over, yep.
Yeah, they'd been running cameras on those fields up there. So Jason and his wife knew that there was some gobblers coming into their field, and you knew that there was gobblers coming into that field. So you opted to deer hunt turkeys, right?
Yep. And that was the hardest thing I ever done, because everything in my being is going, talk to them. And when I walked in that morning, I hooted out all the way down the road and everything.
I don't think you would have went wrong by talking to them, though.
I don't
what
either.
What about you, Elston?
No, I think he was playing it right.
I didn't know what to do, but apparently it worked. So
yeah,
that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
That's that special turkey that I got, so that's all I care about.
And with that being said, is that the first time you've killed one on opening day?
That's the first time. No, I've actually killed one opening day. I've never killed one opening morning. My very first bird was on opening day.
My very first turkey was on opening. No, I take that back. My very first gobbler was on opening day.
God, that's pretty cool.
What about you?
I killed 4 or 5 I can think off the top of my head on opening morning.
Turkey Slayer. I'm
4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5. Just 4 or 5.
Before we move on, go ahead and give a shout out to Jason's wife, Mandy. She's been hunting for 20 years, and today she killed her very first bird. So.
Yeah, he's been trying 20 years to get her a bird and finally get it.
That's awesome right there.
He told me that he went out there. Was talking last night. I was like, when you got one flopping, you want to make sure it's dead, put your foot on its head and pull its legs up.
He's supposed to make her run out there and just grab it by the legs.
Well, He-Man Jason runs out there. When he grabs it, rips his head off.
Good grief.
Said he turned around and Mandy's standing there just bawling. And he goes, man, just the motions hit her, which is so cool. I'm happy for her. Congratulations to her.
Congratulations. That's right. And you said you've taken 4 or 5 on opening day?
And I can think of.
Well, with that being said, did you do any preseason scouting for turkeys this year?
For this year?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've been burning it up a little bit, riding around listening for birds on the limb and seeing which way they fly down, what their travel patterns are, and go from there.
How many did you hear gobble this year?
And
our season's not here yet, is it, Elston?
No, it's torture. I heard roughly the other morning on one ridge that I stopped and listened to, there was a group of 3 right here, then about 100 yards further down was another group of 3 or 4. But there's a owl came in there and started doing a screech owl. And man, when he rolled, it was like a domino effect. They hit. Then it was just a complete circle all the way around me, birds gobbling. From that one spot, there's probably 12 birds.
The whole time you want to grab your shotgun and go ahead.
Do something.
Yeah, and the particular public we're talking about don't start till what, the 8th?
I ain't even read that. I just wait on my buddy. Ask me if I'm ready to go.
Yeah, it's going to be...
That's ridiculous. The 8th.
April 8th.
Golly.
Yeah, I know. That's
some public land.
Yeah, y'all don't want to get me started on that.
That's what we was talking about on our last podcast, was if you think about it, the normal working guy like we are, with turkey season starting on the 25th like it did today, on a Monday, that only gives a working man that hunts the weekends 12 days to hunt, and only 8 days for the public land guys here in North Alabama.
And not to mention that the cutoff time's at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
I hate that cutoff time.
And that's what kills us, because me and you used to go in the afternoons a lot after work.
Yeah.
And that's really just messed me up bad.
Hate that cutoff time.
Which, I mean, it's got its good and bad with all that, but I've been doing my own research on this, pushing the dates back. But supposedly birds, give them time to breed and everything. Me and another guy, we used to go like right around Valentine's weekend, start listening for birds. We've actually seen gobblers breeding hens at that time of the year.
Wow.
Dang.
So
And I've often heard too that when, I know this is just a redneck saying, I guess, when the leaves of a poplar tree get to the size of a possum's ear, the hens start going to the nest. Have you noticed a lot of the poplar trees have already got leaves on them this early this year?
Yeah, about 3 Saturdays ago, me and my buddy was meeting up to do some scouting, and I was going up the road, and there's a hen by herself in the middle of the road, and she went right off back the way she came out. And I said, I wonder if she's nesting, because usually if you see a hen, there's going to be a few with her. Well, I'll be doggone, the next day I went back up to there. She same spot. I just went down the road a little bit, and I kind of eased up the road, and sure enough, she was down there sitting.
Really?
Dang.
What's some strategies that you might do for, like, this is going to be aimed at people that don't know a whole heck of a lot about turkey hunting like me and Chris.
Y'all know more than
But what's some of the strategies that you do, like on public land in early season?
Going in blind.
Going in blind?
If I'm going in blind somewhere, I'm going to kind of study on on an egg, spark forward, something like that. Find some long ridges with some fingers coming off of them, because most of your birds are going to, I've seen roost on a finger somewhere.
Right.
And the higher it is in some places, the elevation, I've seen that's pretty common.
Yeah.
Birds sit up there and gobble, and they can pull his hens.
I've had to work so much that I haven't even been out and done any preseason scouting, so I'm hoping I can lean on Elston a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, old pal.
Yeah, could you show me on Onyx right here a couple of them 12 birds that you got?
You can only kill so many. I mean,
I got 2 boys, and they're just as greedy as I am when it comes to turkey hunting.
But the thing about you is you're not only scouting for turkeys right now, you're still in deer mode.
Yeah, I'm bad in deer mode. I'm about 65% getting to the turkey mode, even though youth season's coming up this weekend where we're going to take my boys. I mean, I've been burning it up when I can, doing some post-season scouting, finding sheds. And bad as I hate to say it, all of the walking I found, I can name about 2 places I've actually seen turkey sign.
dang. Speaking of deer season, how did your deer season go?
Oh, it went all right, I reckon. I ain't getting much time to go like I usually do, but I did come out, with a big fat 0. Got a doe with my bow and a little 9-point with my rifle, so it was all in all good. You spend a lot of time with my boys in the woods, so that making memories.
That's the best part.
Yeah, I know we're not going to talk about any monsters we might have found. So we'll keep that off the books. I got a question for you. What's the reason behind no cameras in the forest
The cell cameras,
during turkey season, you think?
I'll have to think of somebody down at Montgomery got a thorn in the spot, sore, and they're kind of jealous.
Because honestly, that's the perfect time of year. Like for me, that's when I go in, like we said, going in blind, just going, hey, I'm going to hit a road bed or I'm going to hit a ridge, and I'm going to walk looking for turkey signs. Like, hey, here's some good deer sign. Let me, I got some cameras in my bag. Let me put a camera out and go back, later on during the summer and check my camera. But now you can't do that. That's what we were talking about last weekend. Now it's going to be, well, let me store this place on Onyx where I can hope to remember to go back to it.
Well, you can use regular camera as long as it's not a cell camera, from what I've been told. If so, I guess I'm going to be in trouble.
Uh-oh.
Which mine ain't pointing towards no turkey sign. If there's a turkey walk under it, that's between the good Lord and that turkey.
Elston is not liable for anything that he says.
Oh, man.
What's the next point we got to talk about?
Well, I'd sit here and put some stuff down. I was going to ask Elston because he's a man of all knowledge.
I don't know about that.
I got the new, I don't know, do you run a turkey vest or anything?
I wear one.
Okay.
What kind do
Elston
you wear?
wears a turkey vest, y'all.
I I can't remember the name of it to save my life right now. I actually, within 3 uses of it, I had to call the company to get them to give me some information because it was coming apart.
Wow.
But I got lucky. I got the pocket still tore up, but they sent me a brand new vest. The only thing I had to do was cut the logo out of the bird bag in the back. I had to cut that out. And my oldest son seen that new vest, and he said, "Well, that's mine." I said, "Guess so."
I've never liked vests much, but with my bony rear end, I got to have some padding.
Yeah.
But last year, I think it was, I bought that one that Tethered has, that M2.
I've seen it. I ain't really studied them.
Well, I'll have to show that to you.
All right.
It's very cheap.
I got the option where it has a little, you can get the bird bag on it, or you can get the backpack that comes with it, like a little small downsized backpack to where you could use this thing for like even running and gunning deer hunting.
Yeah.
And it's got a very good thick cushion pad for my bony rear end. But that was the whole plan behind it. So, hey, I got this little backpack here. I can put some cameras in it.
There you go.
Gotta run some cameras, but now I can't.
We need to look into the law because, like he said, if you can run regular cameras, we do have a bunch of regular cameras we can run.
Yeah.
Still do what we needed to do.
Right. I guess we need to check into that. Something else I was thinking, I know since you're on public a lot more than the average person, what kind of run-ins do you have with people?
Turkey hunting, it gets pretty hectic. I don't care how far you are from the road, you're going to have somebody come in.
What about during, like, preseason scouting? Have you ran across anybody while you were scouting?
Yeah, the other morning when I was going doing some postseason scouting, I met 1, 2, 3, about 5 trucks pulled off. And I know what they was doing. They was listening for birds. Especially that one guy I know. He's a old timer and he's a very knowledgeable fella.
Yeah, I know that the times, I've been hunting public land most of my life too, and you'll meet some very rude public land hunters.
Oh yeah, what's bad in our area that I've had, it's the out-of-state hunters. That's the rudest. I had 2 birds me and my boys was going after, and we had them coming in. And I had a guy from Minnesota swing in behind us, and the birds kind of wrapped around behind us, and he shot at them birds. Pellets come close to hitting me and my boys. Then the very next year, this past season, I was working some birds off the limb. They flew down, was coming towards me. And all of a sudden, I just see something corner of my eye. Here comes a guy walking the same way I did in there. And he picks up a stick or a limb and chunks it towards them turkeys, flushes them, took off running. And the sad part is, he's from Arkansas. I wouldn't expect that from somebody from there.
No.
What is the point of that?
Jealous.
I know it's public and we all have the rights to it, but be respectful.
What about hunter ethics? You don't see it much anymore,
No.
especially in the area that we hunt,
Yeah.
because it has so much coverage with some big deer being taken there.
Yeah.
That it's hard for us. I've talked about this before. It's hard for us guys that live here to get to our spots to hunt.
Yeah.
And I've had to wait a lot of times to the afternoon. I'll get up to go hunt, and there's somebody camped out on my spot, and I was like, well, I'll just wait and go back later. I had that happen, was it last year or the year before? I had roosted some birds, me and Chris did, and I thought, well, I won't go back open in the morning and get on those birds. And I drive up there at 4 o'clock, and they've got a bonfire in front of the gate. And if I'm not mistaken, you're not supposed to be camping on these places like this. If I'm not mistaken, there's supposed to be designated areas for you to camp.
Especially not having a bonfire on public.
Yeah, bonfire in front of the gate.
Yeah, I don't know about all the rules on camping and stuff like that and hunting. I know for sure one area, if you're, camping, you have to be at a designated area. You just can't camp anywhere.
Right. Yeah, I remember a few years back, that spot that you showed us, it's actually got some hogs in it.
Mm-hmm.
We went up there and got there, I guess it wasn't even 4 o'clock yet. And we're sitting on this spot thinking, well, we're going to have it all to ourselves this morning. Now, another truck pulls up.
At daylight.
At daylight, not, it'd be understandable they got there early. Maybe we could kind of talk to one another. Where are you going? Where are you going? But no, right, they are insisting they're going in, so it don't matter how long we've been there.
We're literally standing at the back of the truck, getting our stuff on. They park and run as fast as they could get into the gate.
They made it in ahead of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that being said, too, have you ever left any of your, like, we're going to bounce back and forth. Right now we're going to go back, like, let's go back to bow season or deer season, okay? Have you ever left any of your stands in the tree?
No.
Have you not?
No.
See, I have. I've been guilty of that in the past. Going in just a little bit early, a few weeks early, and putting a stand up. We kind of ran into that situation one time in one of our spots that I've hunted a long time, 20-plus years, and long story short, I'll try to tell the story as sweet as I can without being as rude as I could be, but we've hunted this spot forever. Mm-hmm. Well, one day we're walking in the spot and there's like, oh, look, there's all this deer blood. Where's this deer blood coming from? Well, I walk on up, and granted, guys, you're not supposed to have ATVs, UTVs, or anything like that in the national forest. So I walk up on.
You should have seen his eyes when you said that. Don't say that.
I walk up on that ridge and
Talladega.
yeah, something like that.
Cahaba.
Yeah, I walk up on my ridge, and there's a 4-wheeler sitting there. Well, I go on in and hunt my spot, and we hear gunshots or whatever, and these two guys come out, and he throws his deer on the 4-wheeler, and I'm like, hey, trying to be nice, and I'm like, hey, bud, you're not supposed to be driving a 4-wheeler in here. He goes, well, that's what we've been using to get the does that we've been killing out.
Oh, wow.
Hey, by the way, you're not supposed to be killing does either, man. There's a such thing as called doe days with a rifle, my friend. But anyway, I was trying to be nice because, it's like, hey, I hunt this ridge right here. This is where I hunt it, And sure enough, those guys go back in there because I showed where my ridge was and stole my stand, stole his stand. And let's just say we come full circle. Come the next hunting season, I'm pulled up on my spot. Guess who decides to show up? Yeah. We had some choice words with him that morning.
And he still walked in.
But anyway, you ever had anything like that happen to you? Any confrontations in the woods?
Oh, yeah. I was turkey hunting back when we could hunt in the evening, just been a long time ago. I had a man and a woman who come pulling up on a Ranger side by side. Had a generator and a back playing their boombox. I mean, loud as I could do it. And I'm standing there like, what in the world, they do? And they come pulling up there beside me, and they said, you turkey hunting? I said, yeah, today's opening day of turkey season. They said, oh, we didn't know that. I said, you do know it's illegal to have that thing in here. They like that and took off. Man, that burnt me up. I said, you know what? I'm going to make a call. I made a call.
Mr. Green Jeans.
Yeah, he come in. I reckon they got a warning that time, and I think they got caught once or twice again.
Man. Rude.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
What you got?
Man, I'm just listening. I'm enjoying the stories.
Enjoying the stories.
But, like you were talking about earlier about people being rude during turkey season, stuff like that. Remember when me and you were on those two birds when they ended up killing that pretty good gobbler up there on public land?
Yeah.
Sitting there and calling to them, and you got people parking behind our truck.
You ever went turkey hunting and tried to keep the turkey from gobbling?
Yeah, we were just like, okay, we know he's here, just don't say much. Quick gobble it.
We're trying to move on this turkey, and the whole time you hear stopping.
Somebody
And
hanging
I
out the
heard him
window
pull
with a
in behind my
box call.
truck.
Yeah, talking about success opening morning in trucks. I've been scouting these birds and listening to them, and they're like in a V. You got a road here and a road here. So, you're going to have somebody try to come in there if they gobble. Anyway, that morning it was foggy. I done slipped down in that holler waiting on them birds. I ain't said a word. There was people up there on them roads just a hooting and a hollering. I got tickled. This old boy, he must have got out with his vest on, just raring to go. He hit that hoot owl call, nothing. He hit a crow call, nothing. He hit that box call, nothing. And boy, he slammed that door yonder. He went again. I'm like, I like them kind of hunters. They leave you alone, you know it. But that morning, them birds never said a word on a limb, which I don't blame them. I wouldn't either. It was that different. You got more traffic on the road, more tires popped in that gravel. And turkeys and deer, they know that.
Yeah.
And it's unusual. But them birds, one of them got to come home with me.
That's kind of like that hunt that me and you was on, where you put what was it called?
Winston County Starvation Crawl. Woo-wee.
I sat there and I watched that video, and if you hadn't seen that video, guys, it's a good one. That was our COVID hunt, because that's when COVID first came out.
That's when turkey hunt went down south.
You got that
God,
right.
that was miserable.
But Elston, we had what was that? That was a slate call you was using, I think. We'd been, I think we was using mouth calls all morning, and all of a sudden you hit something with either the glass call or slate call, and he gobbled right up that holler from us, and we got set up on him.
Yeah, I was using a crystal call on the ridge, and we went to the bottom, and I put in that mouth call and cut on it pretty hard, and pow!
Had him going and had another one on the ridge top.
Yeah.
And we thought he was going to come on a string all the way to us, and all of a sudden he made a 90. And I've never seen a turkey go up such a steep embankment as that one did that day.
Boy, I love that bank.
Yeah, that's the one you crawled up on and
Literally crawled up a bluff gap.
jumped up.
Oh, I didn't do that. I pulled a Rambo on him. I got up there where I could see that red head spinning around, strutting. As soon as he turned, and that was it. But that other bird, what gets me, he was right above that other bird, and he made a complete, nearly a whole circle around us, and was gobbling. And when I got up to that bird after I shot him, I hit that call, and then that's when you went after him.
Yeah. You ever killed any deer in that spot?
Nope.
You ever deer hunted that spot?
Nope.
That same holler right there where you killed your bird at. You know the big long ridge on top right there?
Mm-hmm.
Me and him dropped off there one day, and we had one literally sit up there back and forth 2 hours, just gobbling his brains out, to the point where he's like, man, I got to make some kind of move up there and get up there, and end up scaring him, and he runs off on me.
We also got down there in that private property that borders it.
Mm-hmm.
Got down there and had a guy run one off of us with a goose call.
Good night.
Gobbling his brains off, coming right to us. I mean, you could tell him when he was making ground. Every time he'd gobble, he's 50 yards closer, and all of a sudden, honk, honk.
Well, that bird that got a what that was with that other one, I went back after that bird a few days, and I was sitting there at my truck, and I've learned this. Usually on a pressure bird, I don't try to run up under them and, get close to them when they fly down, because I've had them fly 2 ridges, or something like that. I'll wait till they hit the ground, and I know they're committed to that spot, then I'll go. Anyway, that morning that bird was sitting down there just burning it up. And here comes old Buckwheat and his old buddy down the road there, toting. I ain't knocking nobody, but this is how I can distinguish them. They was toting camera gear. One had that tripod, and that other one had
Sure
that.
it wasn't me?
No, it wasn't you. This is how bad it was. I could hear them breathing. Them old boys was sucking wind. The thing was, they ain't walked 100 yards from the truck. But anyway, they was coming down the road, and I wave at them. All they saved me. I'm like, well, all right, I need to be doing something, because that bird done hit the ground. in the woods down there, set up on that bird, and I finally had him committed to me that morning. And he was coming. He got about 60 yards or so, just being a turkey taking his time. Next thing I know, I hear, yelp, 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 yelp. And I'm like, that ain't no hen, that's somebody on a glass call. That old bird, he just reached up, looked around, went back to being a turkey. He wasn't coming in strutting or nothing. He was just feeding. And he went behind a big old oak tree, and I done some scratching with my hand right quick, and he was coming on up through there, and about that time I heard crunch, 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 crunch. That bird took off, and those feathers come out of that bird. When he took off, it scared him half to death. Turn around, look, and there's them old boys up there on that hill, and I seen one pull that striker out this and hit it. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But that bird, he died eventually.
By you?
Oh, yeah, he died.
You know, I was sitting there thinking, we talked about how pressured our area is.
Oh, yeah.
All right. How do you know, I'm going to say, how do I say this without stepping on some feelings? But
Let it rip, tater chip.
my opinion is, which my opinion don't mean nothing, but shouldn't our state and legislatures try to limit out-of-state hunters?
I believe so. And I also believe they need to up the price of a non-resident.
Because, you know, I'm thinking, you know, the folks that live here, the guys that, you know, I feel like we should have first shot.
Yeah, I think Mississippi, if you got to put in for a draw for non-resident, then the resident season comes in and it's like a week later non-residents can roll in. I think it's something like that, but I could be totally wrong on that, but I know it's a draw system.
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, non-residents, you should start at a later date.
It's kind of like hunting clubs that I've been in and been a part of, you know, no guest on opening day of turkey season or the first week, you know, same thing with deer season. It makes sense. I mean, because, you know, I think the reasoning behind why they do what they do, because that out-of-state tag license is so much more expensive than our measly little.
Well, you bring up that point. This is my point on it, and I ain't meaning to hurt somebody's feelings, but
Let her rip, tater chip.
Oh, yeah. If they really worried about money, how about going after all these poachers, stuff like that, and really throwing the
fines to them, right?
Instead
exactly.
of just, don't do it again.
All the time I'm sitting at home at night and I hear a high-power rifle go off about midnight.
Yeah, I know up in our area, poaching has been bad.
Yeah.
In the past, at least.
Yeah, I mean, if you're really that money hungry, then take care of what you got right now before you really start to do some more.
Right.
But we passed the corn bill.
Yeah,
That's another one that you don't want to step on no feelings either.
I mean, I can understand, say somebody disabled or a kid or something or like that, but I mean, that's just me, my 2 cents.
I know what it is doing. People are forgetting how to hunt.
That's fine too.
The bad thing is, I do it. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I do it. But I do it because I have to. Because if I don't put corn on my property at my house, somebody else is going to, and I won't never see my deer again.
Yeah, that's true. I do the same thing at my house.
But do I wish that it wasn't here and I didn't have to worry about that and I could hunt my acorns and my green field like I've always had my whole life? I'd rather do that.
But that's why I also love going to the public property, public land.
There's corn piles up there too.
Yeah, but that also can bite you in the butt too, because all the private property around it, guess what they're doing?
Hang on. Talking about private property, I remember listening to this one podcast. These guys say, "Oh man, I seen 30-something deer or whatever hunt the property lines." I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, that's all fine and dandy. What are you going to do when you shoot one that runs on that private property and you can't get your deer?
That's right.
I mean, all power to them, but
How'd you kill that turkey again? What was that crawl called?
Winston County starvation.
This is what you're going to do to get your deer.
But I mean, everybody's got their opinion on things. I mean, this is where you become an adult, where if you can just, I ain't talking about that or this and that. And I mean, that's how we got to get along.
Right.
And learn things, make things better.
Right. I like the old school way of going out and finding a feed tree.
Oh yeah.
Or finding a travel route, a corridor, or something like that, or a transition in the line, a transition line, property lines and stuff like that. Or you got big pines here, you got a stretch of hardwoods and the deer running it. That's the stuff I live for.
Remember the days before trail cameras? You
Yeah.
never open in the morning, you didn't have a clue.
Right.
I remember being a kid. I thought when I would look for opening days, them hounds burning one.
That's right.
Oh my God.
But with that being said, back then, you're always like, I want to go stalk hunting, them daggum hounds and stuff. And now, how many times you wish that you could sit there and listen to them hounds run?
Man, I always loved being a backstander, because
That was me on public property. I'm backstanding all this private land and killing all the deer.
I remember it's been years and years ago. It was right after we couldn't run dogs anymore. Our group went to a place and doing man drives. And I say a group, I'm talking about 40, 50, 60 people with high power rifles. And I can already hear this now. That's dangerous. No, it ain't. If you know what you're shooting at and not shooting towards a stander or something like that, it's all right. But anyway, our first drive or second drive over there, we actually there was a guy in a tree stand. We didn't know it. But he ended up killing, I don't remember, it was like a 150, 160 class buck that slipped out the back door of the drivers. And it was a good deer. And I mean, if you got dogs or somebody walk in on you deer hunting, it ain't the end of the world.
No.
I still miss those days, though. I mean, I don't like doing it all the time, but I miss having the option to go.
That's
I'm
right.
going to grab those shotgun and go sit behind and listen to a group of dogs run.
Yeah, one of the biggest deer I let get away in my lifetime was on a dog drive, because the rules in the club I was in that time, you had to unload your weapon when you know that the standards were coming out. So I sit there and I hear the truck crank up, and I can hear them talking, and it was actually Danny's dad, Bill. He just blah, 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 back and forth. You could hear them in that truck just hee-hawing along, and I would unload my gun. And I walk up in the road, and I stand in the road, and I stretch a little bit and look, and all of a sudden there's this 10-point running down the middle of the road at me. And this is no lie, he got within 5 yards of me before he cut. And when he cut, I'm sitting there shoving shells in my gun as my crotch is riding them little short pines trying to get across there to shoot at him. I didn't get him, but if I wouldn't have unloaded my gun, I'd have had him that day.
Yeah. Biggest deer I ever shot at on a dog drive, I was peeing.
Peeing?
I was literally it was them Ridge Runner Hunting Club dog drives. Ones where they stick you out there and you be out there 4 or 5 hours. Didn't know when you can get picked up. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. All right, I'm going to the bathroom. I set my shotgun down. The whole time I've been going, please let me take my rifle. Oh, you ain't gonna need your rifle. Just take his shotgun. I laid on a pine tree and I started peeing. And I looked over and he's standing in the road. I'm talking monster, just standing in the road looking at me. Still hanging out. Picked the shotgun up and just aim over his head and start pulling the trigger. You can just watch the pellets hit the ground right before him.
You can tell where our mind's at, Elston. We still in deer mode too.
Yeah, it's hard to tell you right now, especially seeing a sign that just makes you want to know what done that.
On Cahaba.
Oh yeah, boy.
Don't worry, I put an air tag in his truck, so we're good.
I'll say this: you can find my truck. Good luck finding mine.
That's right. Yeah, that's what I said. I've never met a human being in my life that walks as much as you do. Have you ever logged your miles?
Oh yeah, the other day I tallied up. I'm pushing since January about 140 miles right now scouting since January.
See, I didn't realize that's the thing. Did you know that's a thing?
But I just do it because I'm curious how far.
Yeah, I know, but a lot of the young people now, that's what I'm seeing is like that's what I was listening to some people talk and stuff, and they're talking about the miles and stuff. I'm like, what are they talking about? I guess it's a thing now to log your mile. I never thought about it. I just done it.
Is it bad I'm out of breath just thinking about 140 miles?
The thing is, you can walk all them miles you want to and say you've done it. The thing is what you acquired from doing that.
Right, the knowledge, yeah.
A couple of years ago up in the forest, and in the COVID years, I think we did, 8 miles and didn't hear a damn bird?
Yeah,
That's in public land.
That's that long walk back to the truck. That's crap.
That's them birds you get there where everybody wants to pull off.
I got tickled talking about turkey hunting. Me and my buddy, we went to a spot we ain't never set foot on before. You know, we walked out on a point, and it was probably a good hour before daylight. He said, I got to run use the bathroom, mate. I'm like, all right. I'm sitting there looking at my phone about this ridge and how it runs down through there in the creeks and everything. It started getting crack of daylight. Ain't heard nothing. I was out one time and heard one. I said, that was over there on that next ridge. They said, yeah. And I looked through there. Boy, it was a long ways over at that bird. We went after that bird. Bad thing is, we got over there, that bird wasn't there. So we sat there for a little while and called. Didn't hear nothing. Then we started going back off that point the way we came, and I can't remember if he hit a box call or something or like that, something loud, and we heard one way up the holler there sound off. All we did was walk down that point, get back up on another ridge, cutting a little distance, and by that time, that bird done covered a lot of ground coming. I mean, this bird was a long ways. And we set up, and that bird come up to nearly the point of that ridge and just turned, went right back in the bottom like, hey, I'm up here. If you want to come on, come on. If not, I'm leaving. And we didn't see that bird. And we sat there probably a good 20, 30 minutes after that bird left. We hit the holler again, going back down it through there. And we stopped because a jet was flying over. Figured we'd hear one pop off. Nothing. Boy, for old glory, I put the call in. I had started cutting on it. Pow! This bird was literally, there's a little no, and he was just on our side. I said, oh, man. We set up on him, and my buddy's right here, and I'm right here, and this bird's going to come across. Finally, he says, I see him. By that time, he sees him, I see him. And, I mean, he shoots in just a tenth of a second. I pulled the trigger. That bird jumped straight up dead and everything. We got up there. That bird didn't have a beard, but it was one of the heaviest birds I've ever picked up. Those spurs on him done wore down. Big old noggin head. If I had to guess, that bird probably weighed about 23, 24 pounds.
Dang. I know my first gobbler that I talked about a while ago, it was sleeting that day. It was cold. It was I think it was in the upper 20s. Just like our normal Alabama weather, all of a sudden you got spring. Hey, it's real nice. I can't wait to go turkey hunting. And then all of a sudden you go turkey and goes, damn, I should be deer hunting.
It's windy.
Yeah, it's windy. What's one of the biggest things you think? I'm going to tell you mine first, but one of the biggest things I've learned about turkey hunting, about as far as to help you kill a bird, mine is using the terrain. Because, and what I mean, what I'm saying is, I was a person, I've missed more turkeys than I've killed. And that goes back to the fact that I can't stand to watch them walk in. Because before I know it, there's going to be a premature trigger pull, because you're watching that joker walk from a long way, and then all of a sudden you start losing sight of, I wonder how far he is, and I think he sees me, I'm going to have to shoot at him, bang. The biggest thing that I learned is trying to find some way of when that bird comes to me, as soon as I can see that bird's in range, if possible.
Yeah. I've had something, I used to do that on some birds, but that also can bite you pretty hard. Say you're on a ridge and you're looking at the crest of it. Say the crest of that hill, say 30 yards. That bird, he's going to, what I call telescope, put his head up before and
peek over it.
Yeah, and peek over. No, I mean, you might not have that much to shoot, but he peeks over here and you're pointing this way. I try to not get in open situations like that. I try to use, say, a tree blow down or a creek or something to my advantage to make that bird have to come find me.
Tuck up into some thick stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like 2 years ago, a cousin hollered at me to go with him. We got after a bird, and this bird was in there deep across of a holler, and that bird actually came all the way up the holler, come over the point of the ridge, come down, cross the creek, come up another finger to us. And it's one of them things they got out there, and he said, I'm here, you come find me. You know, I pulled a Hail Mary with the Ithaca 20 gauge. I missed him, but a bird will get hung up and open because he can see so far and he's looking for a hen. He can't see that hen. Well, what's the point of him going? You know?
Right.
I always try to use land, terrain, anything to my advantage. Sometimes I push the envelope real hard. Like if that bird's just over at Chris that ridge, you know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm crawling up that ridge.
Winston County starvation crawl.
Got that right.
So here's a question to add to that. Do you use decoys?
Yes and no. I use decoys for my boys when they want to use them. That decoy, I just don't like toting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's me.
Say you go, leave the truck.
But they make them blow up.
That night got it's a Avian X, I think, or something like that. I've had it for several years. Hey, that old girl right there has killed a lot of turkeys for me.
I hate carrying decoys. Last one I carried, what was that Jake decoy? Oh my God, what was the name of it?
Funky Chicken.
Funky Chicken. We carried that Funky Chicken, stuck in the middle of the road. This bird was hot as could be. He runs in there and starts clucking at it and runs. I'm talking about runs as fast as he could out of there when he seen it.
I've heard some stories of any decoy.
I burnt that thing.
I've had birds actually come into a decoy and they get over and they start looking at it like that, like something ain't right, and boop, 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 start leaving out. But my preference, I just don't want to tote them. I don't want to deal with it.
Me too. Just extra weight I don't need.
Say I hit a bird, he's fired up right there, and I got to sit down. I don't want to fight that thing in my vest to sit down and get comfortable.
I can see the benefits maybe in a field situation.
Yeah.
Where, you give them some eye candy out there to see. And
I had the best one today, though. That live decoy.
Yeah, the live decoy.
Hen sitting out there, hey, big boy.
You can't beat a good Henrietta.
I thought that a couple of years ago. I was in that lease that we got, and I'm walking off a hillside, well, or a roadbed, in other words. And I just stepped off on the edge of the road because I heard something, and I thought it might have been a squirrel. So I just kind of sat there, and I knelt down. Is my problem. I just kind of knelt down. All of a sudden I look up and there's a hen. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about 20 yards in front of me, just right here. It's kind of a bottom that leads up to a ridge, and this ridge point's coming off here, and she's right here. Well, I was just going to fool with her a little bit, so I gave a couple of calls, and when I did, on this ridge point right here, pow! He hammers. And he's almost within sight. So I'm sitting there in a situation where, and I also messed myself up because I know better. Usually if you're going to call, you're already trying to think about, okay, if a bird's here, where am I going to get? Mm-hmm. I need to be sure I'm not blocked by something. Well, I didn't do that. I broke every rule in the book that day. I knelt down. In a thick bush to my left was nothing but sawbriars. So I'm kind of just limited to where this hen's at right here. But guess what? This gobbler's over here on my left side, and I shoot left-handed. Mm-hmm. So he's walking off the hill. Well, I'm thinking, he's going to see this hen right here. He must have been an idiot because he didn't see the hen right there. She walked on to my right. He walks down and turns around, and my gun's hung in the sawbriars, and I couldn't get over there because how thick I had set up there, all set up wrong. Well, anyway, he ends up going back up the hillside, so I tried to skirt around him. And that's one of them situations where, do you think they ever get bored with hearing a certain hen?
If I was a single fella and I had all them ladies, yeah, I'd be like a bull in a pasture.
I'm gonna say that's what happened to me anyway, because I worked my way back around and got the perfect setup, I thought. I even put decoys out because I had decoys with me that day. And he came, and like we just talked about, I got to where there was a crest of a hill. He stayed just on the other side of it, mm-hmm. Never saw my hens, and he just got bored and walked off a gobbling, and I never could call him back again.
He had a place in mind he was going.
Right.
Some of them birds, you better be in their path they're going. If not, they're just going.
Yeah, I think I had my shot if I would have been set up right when he first come down.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
That's like one pretty much in the same area, at least. It was a couple of years before that. When me and you got him to gobble, and I'm talking about he's 400 or 500 yards away from us, gobbling. And he makes his way all the way to us. I'm talking about he was within 60 yards of us, but there was thick crap right here. You couldn't see him. 60 yards from it, and then it just quits gobbling. So we just sitting there waiting. You keep waiting for him to pop out. Just waiting. And then I think he called. When he called, he was 200-300 yards back. Just left.
I mean, the best part I like is sitting up on a whole log road. You got a curve, and that bird's around that curve, and you can get on this side of that curve, and he has to come all the way around to see what's in that road and bust him.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it, just thinking a little bit ahead, like you just said, make it to where he's going to have to show himself to where you can,
Like Will Primo says about, calling deer. You need to set up around some thick stuff. If not, that buck, he can sit out there for a long ways and look, and he don't see no bucks fighting. Well, he ain't coming.
No.
Yeah, I'm talking about set up around a curve. I remember a couple of years ago. Heck, it was nearly 15 years ago, hunting some management area, and I think you had split off. You'd went one way and I went the other. And I was so brand new turkey hunting, I ain't never killed one. I come around a curve and all I see is blue. I was like, there he is. And I sat back and I sat there an hour and 15 minutes. I said, well, I guess he's gone. I come back around a curve and it's still there, and get over and somebody took a Pepsi bottle and stuck it in a tree.
Have you ever set up on a Pepsi bottle? No, but I've sat there and put a stalk on a stump before.
My favorite turkey hunting is the midday birds. They get birds, the hens leave them. To me, that's nearly as good as taking, doing what you want to with them to an extent. Me and my buddy, we was at his hunting club. I think we messed with a bird that morning around a Bruce, but something he didn't cooperate or something. Anyway, he said, we're going to go up there and hit that road and walk it. I'm just happy lucky be on some private land, you know. Anyway,
where it's supposed to be easy.
This is easy birds today, boys.
Anyway, we get up on this little hill there. I said, well, I'm going to throw one out for old glory. I hit it, and pow. I said, well, we're going to give him a minute, see if it was just, luck. He just answered us, or he's really interested. Anyway, I hit the call, and he answered us. Boy, I went to looking at how to get over there and see what the terrain's like. We got over there, and that bird was running a ridge, pines. He'd go down about 100 yards and come back just constantly. But he wouldn't gobble much in between them 2 points. He'd just go there, gobble, travel back, gobble. It took us probably about a good hour to get over there. And we was coming up that point, hit the call, and pow, he was right there. I said, oh no, we're kind of in the open. I'm like, we just get busted. Well, sure enough, I heard him. He just went back down. Boy, I went up there as fast as I could, got behind a pine tree. And my buddy, he was down there behind me. I didn't know it at the time, but he pulled out his phone and started recording. This bird started coming back, and I called to him just to say, hey, I'm here. He answered me. And when he got up there close, I never seen this before. He was strutting, and there was, I think it was 2 or 3 hens kind of running around him, trying to pull him. And he come up there, and he got a load of 20 gauge. He was a good bird. I don't remember his spurs or nothing like that. But seeing them hens do that, I've never seen that before.
Don't go, it's danger.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on if you're going into a spot and you start calling, you hear a gobbler, but you also know he's with a bunch of hens? Do you set up on him and try to work him anyway, or work the hens to get them to come? Or do you leave him alone and go find one that wants to play?
Well, you mentioned it earlier. We only got so many times we can be in the woods.
Right.
And I thought pushing the envelope, and boy, my buddy, he's seen me do it quite a bit. Well, you've seen it too.
Jamie?
Yeah. they seem like push that envelope pretty hard on some birds. I messed some up, and some of them got to come home with us.
You don't know till you try, though, right?
Exactly. I like getting in their bubble. What I mean their bubble, I'm talking about if I can get, 75 yards from them,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try.
Right.
I mean, taking my time getting in there. But I believe if you can get in that bubble, do some, if there's a hen down there clucking, stuff like that, mimic her, you might can pull her up there, then drag him in with her.
Right.
But also, too, if you can, I've done this, say, got a bunch of flocked up turkeys, say, handful of hens, couple gobblers, and you don't get nothing, but you can hear them down there scratching and see them. But if they're going down that holler, I'm going to just circle around in front of them. I'm going to be like old Pedro over here done this morning. I'm going to wait them out.
Yeah. In the past, I wouldn't have done that. In the past, if I knew that gobbler was the hens, I thought it was over with. It's like, well, I'm just going to have to go find me one that's by itself.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what we talked about on our last podcast, too. I feel like I'm old as the hills because I come from when there was no videos out there to teach you how to turkey hunt.
Yeah.
It was showing you, hey, they located this bird, it flew down, and it walked all the way in until I blowed his beak off.
Yeah.
And me and my buddy Danny, I can't tell you how many screwed up turkey hunts that we did because we thought that was the way to do it, because you're watching all these videos. You got Mossy Oak putting out these videos, but they're not telling you this is what you need to do to turkey hunt.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times that we sat there and turned a vehicle off on the side of the road and had one gobble probably 100 yards from you, and our dumb DAs cranked the vehicle back up and drive almost to it.
Yeah, that's talking about them videos. It's ruined a lot of people. Even YouTube. I mean, say a YouTube video, you got 30 minutes. You trying to put a hunt in, and I know one YouTube channel. That guy's just sitting there, and I mean, it's showing like he's really constantly calling. And there's people staking that to the woods and thinking,
Yeah,
man,
that's how you do it.
I got a call. And I learned the hard way too, because like you talking about, the only way I learned was Primos and old Bill Jordan.
And none of those ways working when you went out there and figured the right way out.
Yeah.
I still get beat up.
I think it was about 16, 17-year-old. I ran into an old-timer and got to talking to him. Actually knew him. But I got to talking to him, and I asked some questions. He said, you ain't got to call much. If he answers you, he knows where you're at. And I started asking around about that old man. Oh, yeah, man, he kills a lot of turkeys. He told me at the time he used a cherry leaf for mouth call. And he's got an old box call on that thing. I don't know how old that is. I don't know if he made it or what, but that old man, that's all he took was a cherry leaf, a box call, and that 12 gauge.
Well, that's something special if you actually would share information, because a lot of the old timers that I come across, they wouldn't tell you nothing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, to an extent, like they say, turkey hunters, they ain't going to tell you nothing. I mean, it's true. I mean, I see it on, not degrading anybody by saying this, I see people all the time on Facebook, asking this or that and another. To an extent, yeah, that's fine, but...
Can somebody drop me a pin on a location?
Hey, I'm in town. Can someone tell me where I need to go on Coosa Management Area?
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, I guess I'm old school. If you want to go hunt a certain place, go. You got a better chance if that's where you're wanting to go versus somewhere you don't want to go.
Right.
You go there, you put boots on the ground. If you're turkey hunting, listen, scout, do what you can. Because if you end up killing something and you done it on your own, man, that's a best feeling there is.
That's so much more rewarding, yeah.
Then saying, hey, this old boy told me, this and this and this. I mean, I'm glad they killed whatever they did. I'm tickled to death. But doing it all on your own, man, that's awesome.
Right.
I get tickled to death seeing my boys asking me questions when we go scouting. And I got tickled a while back. We went and checked some food plots for some sheds. And I was pointing out some rubs, and my youngest said, "Dad, how you think that's a good deer or a small deer?" I said, "Well, son, I ain't ever seen a little fork point rub up to my chest." They said, "Well, he might have just got on his hind feet and raised stuff." I'm like, "Okay, Timber, you know."
Speaking of that, man, I seen a good rub today. I'm talking about a tree like that right there, and all the way just skinned all the way down.
Well, I can tell you one thing. When you look at a rub and it's got gouge marks in it,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
I found one the other day in the bottom of a little draw.
Back on deer hunting again.
Yeah, boy. I found one that you look at it, you think, oh, it's just nothing to really be special about. But if you start looking at it, those gouge marks nearly up to here on me, and they was going about, a quarter-inch deep on a tree about the size of a baseball.
All right.
I said, this old boy right here might be worth coming.
Can you drop me a pin?
Well, the thing is, the old boy, I'm not pretty sure it probably could be, because that deer was rubbing the same size. His sheds got picked up the other day by Jamie. I'm pretty sure that deer, because
You got a picture of him that you can secretly share with people?
Jamie's got them somewhere.
Jamie.
You need to show him one day that deadhead we found.
Oh, yeah, that big one we found.
Yeah. We found it, sure enough.
You know, what was that deer? Not Michael Perry's deer, but the other one. You know what I'm talking about?
Man, there's been a lot of deer
It
killed.
was.
Don't give us away where we're at, man.
I'm just talking about, places that we know of. I've seen them at the deer show, you know what I'm saying? I can't remember the dang deer's name, but the way just all the mass that came up was like that.
How many points, even though there's no telling how long if somebody killed this deer, I guarantee you they're sick, because they didn't look hard enough to find it where we found it. And all that was left of it was the bases that were about this big, and just the remnants of what points.
Right here, where it starts to go around, is, I'm telling you, that big around.
I can't remember how many points that you can count.
I think it was 7 or 8, and I think I scored it one time, and with half a rack that it had left, it was still like 99.
No, there's not even a half a rack. We're talking about this crap is broke off before it ever gets up to.
What's left scored like 99, and I'm talking about there's so much gone. I get a chance, I'll take a picture.
Take a picture of it and let's send it to him where he can see it. And it's amazing. I mean,
It was one of those when we walked up on them like, oh my God.
So they're thinking, first thing comes to my mind, night hunter. Might have seen him on a power line or something like that, or seen him and shot him, because he ran straight down into the bottom of a holler, he almost made it to a clear cut and died right there. And there's no telling how long he's been there, because the rack was just each slap up.
His whole skull was nearly ate up. The only thing was left was the top of his eyebrows and the backside of his head, and his horns coming up. I'm talking about the base of his antlers. How it's ribbed under? I'm talking about this half-inch, inch long. It's monstrous. Well,
That might have came over on the Mayflower, you reckon? You don't see deer like that around here no more.
yeah, especially down here in Talladega. I mean, well, I hate to say it, but I think it's about time to wrap it up.
Appreciate it, fellas.
We
Yeah,
appreciate
we
you coming on.
Maybe we can get you back on here for long.
It'll have to be after turkey season.
Might have to get you on closer to deer season, do some more deer hunting talk.
Yeah.
Teach these
Pick
boys
your
right
brain
here
a
how to
little
figure
bit.
out some stuff.
It better be about September, because October I'm burning something
I mean,
up.
it gets dark sometimes.
You can tell this guy's nothing but scouter here.
If
I threw the flashlight looking for deer sign.
Here's the thing, if I'm at home and I ain't got nothing going on, I got that iPad and I'm sitting there burning Spartan Forge up.
Yeah, I got to get something better than this, because I'm getting old and my eyes just don't work like they used to. I need to get me just a full-blown computer screen.
Them iPads are nice.
Yeah. All right, well, Elston, thank you very much for coming on.
Appreciate it, bud.
You're welcome. Good luck to y'all and everybody out there.
Hey, if y'all want to see him again, make sure y'all hit the thumbs up on YouTube.
That's right.
Need to get him back on with us again.
That's right.
I think he's going to have us a friend of his that might come on one day with us.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the one you need to talk to about deer hunting.
I'm kind of scared to talk to him. I met him before, but I'm scared to
We're
talk to him.
talking about deer hunting royalty here.
It's like, oh.
Yeah,
Walks in the room, got to have a red carpet coming in.
oh, man, I can hear this now when I talk to him.
We'll save that for another day. And then again, guys, thanks for watching and until
And
next,
listening.
Yeah, listening. Yeah, listening. I forgot
It's
about
kind of
that.
weird to say, ain't it?
That's right. And this is episode 2 out of the way, and we'll be working on episode 3.
That's it. Appreciate y'all.
Take care, guys.